I'm gonna do another walk me home video. First, my surroundings. It really has to be experienced to be appreciated. And my 85, there was a guy got on and he was not right. And he had a very, very bad body odor, even though his hair was clean. So, that's also a red flag, And even, interestingly enough, most of the homeless people I deal with are pretty fresh. Yeah, they don't generally have a bad odor, but yeah, this guy was bad. So I knew he wasn't with it, and then I didn't like the way he looked at me, so when I was getting, like I have said, I like to get up a little early, stretch out, because doing the street corner Bible handouts with the big buggy with crates of Bibles and stuff is physically taxing, and it takes a couple days of recovery. So I'm not really hurting as much, but I'm stiff. So anyways, I'm going to stretch out a little. We had a cold front come through tonight. That's just why I'm wearing this lovely scarf and parka. So I went up and I quietly spoke to the driver and I said, that guy in the white beater shirt isn't right. And he kind of looked in the rear view and said, yeah. And I said, please don't let him off at my stop because he doesn't live there. And he said, okay. And when we got to my stop, he's like, oh, this is awful. I said, yeah, it is. I said, you wouldn't want your mom or your daughter walking home through this. He said, you're right. And I said, yeah, horrible. So, I jumped off real quick and he took off. So, probably before the guy even noticed I was gone. So, yeah, that was very cool. I appreciate that. I will tell you a little story of my childhood. So, I was about 8 years old, I think. And I was out on the playground or something during lunchtime. And I had like a little snack cake or something in my hand. And I took the wrapper off and I threw it on the ground. And one of my teachers saw me. And she was very, very upset. And she took me back into the classroom and she made me write, I will not be a litter bug 50 times on a piece of paper. And when my mom found out about it, she was pretty upset. I don't know why, because I was littering. But it did stick. So I'm sure she's gone to Jesus by now. She was like at least 40, and yeah, she's gone to Jesus by now. But, and I'm sure he showed her, you know what, you did a good job. Because Heather never litters. So, yeah, if I do, I pick it up, if at all possible. Certain things, like certain bus stops, if it touches the ground, I won't touch it. Because what happens in those areas is just so terrible. And I've decided to share a little information. There's a homeless encampment that is set up at my bus stop to come home from work at a business near the store. The guy has a mattress and bedding and just all kinds of junk just piled around, basically in between the bus stop and the business, and they can't seem to get rid of him. So it's really concerning because I have to watch my back literally as I'm waiting on the bus. And tonight, one of the homeless guys did something I don't like, which I've seen happen before, is that he was hiding because he knew she wouldn't stop for him. But when she saw me and stopped, he jumped on the bus too. And she was not happy about that, I could tell. She apparently had issues with him. I personally didn't like this guy because he was last I saw, he was friends with that guy who was making threats against me. He was going to sexually assault me. He was going to murder me. He was going to beat me up. Yeah, all this nonsense. And of course, God is a lot bigger than all that. And I haven't seen him. And I got a nice little canister pepper spray if I ever have to defend myself. I can't just attack him, you know. I have to defend myself, but at least that's my understanding of the law. And we did get the wind because that fence blew down. Now that is like the neighborhood embarrassment house. My house hasn't always been great, but this house is getting way worse than mine ever was. So I'm almost halfway home now. Probably go down to look around. Nobody's behind me. It is getting colder, so I think that's gonna help. But yeah, and work was crazy. And they're like, well, Heather, you know, do your regular job, do the thing, you know. And then they had me doing everything but my job and the thing. So I hope they're not aggravated tomorrow, because I just did everything I was told to do. Okay. No, we're good. And so we'll see, but I'm tired. And I did feel a little silly this morning because I laid my trash cans down. But it's windy enough, and it's going to be windy enough, ongoing for the next day or so, that I think it's a good thing, because I don't particularly want my private business all over the neighborhood. Not that I really have anything notable, but you know, still it's my business. Check this out. 5 cars in one driveway. That's probably more than I make in 8 years worth of vehicles. I have to have good insurance. And then these guys thought the garbage company would take. Why, hello. What are you doing out in this weather? What are you doing out in this weather? Thought the company would take their stuff, but they didn't, and they generally don't, which is why when I have really needed something gone, which is twice in the last 5 years, they have been amazing. So that's all I'll say. And yeah, I've never even seen that dog because the fence is so tall, but you know. And the nice thing is, I feel a little safer walking in the street with my buggy because I'm wearing my white coat and it's extremely visible. A driver told me that once when I first started riding again. I rode the bus with Ron from 92 to 2003. He got hurt in 2003. We used Metrolift primarily, with the occasional cab, and at the very end, a few Ubers, from 2003 to 2021, and then I got back on the bus. And one of the drivers said, because I told him I needed to get a new winter coat, he said, get a white one. I'm like, oh? He said, yeah, it makes it a lot easier to see you in the dark. I thought, you know what? That's a good idea. It's not fashionable to me. It gets dirty really, really easy. But they can see me, so that's important. And I have seen riding the bus in the dark. Here's that house with that delicious smelling flower. Even though it's so windy, it's still smelling. In the dark, you know, you go riding up on somebody and they're almost on top of them before you see them if they're wearing a dark color. So now, me personally, if it didn't matter, my favorite jacket is probably my purple hoodie, but I like the full zip ones. not the pullover style, because I tend to run a little warm, especially if I'm working or something. So I wore wool socks today, and like a thin poly type long underwear bottom under my jeans, and I was so hot today. I think it was the wool socks, and I kept having hot flashes. So unpleasant. And my boss is like, "What's up with you today?" And I told her, "I think it's these wool socks." But it is getting colder, so I'm glad I did it. I don't know where they're going, but they're not going my way. Okay. And tomorrow morning it's going to be pretty cold too, in the 40s and windy, so I'm probably going to wear 2 long underwears and a wool socks and then some kind of jean on top. And generally I don't need like a long sleeve top, even when it's really cold, because I got some kind of jacket on. And then we have decent enough climate control at work that I'm not freezing, so it's around the corner now. Yeah, doing these videos makes it a little easier to get home. It's been a long day, and I'm ready to go eat, take my medicine, and lie down. And what I think I'm going to be doing from now on with the Bible handouts is just take like the Aleve gel caps for a couple days after, to deal with like the muscle strain and stuff. Yep. My neighbor's trash cans blew over. Her fence, I can see into her backyard. I don't know what's going on there. And house looks okay. I got lights on. Nothing on the porch. Okay. I laid down my trash cans. I did the litter box this morning before I did that, so I don't have to worry about putting out the waste tomorrow. Alright, I am home. Thank you for walking me home. But you know what? I bet you would like to see the cats. Let's see what the cats are up to. Oh, and this is my personal safety alarm from Dollar Tree, which I happily have not needed. I heard some kind of rustling. I don't see anything though. Okay. Alright, let's see. And I guess I can turn the light now. Alrighty. Why, hello, Mr. Spotman right now. It's not a nice day. Okay. Cleo is in what was a porch chair, but has since been reassigned as a cat chair, apparently. I'll show you in a minute. Ooh, I'm tired. Okay. Now, for me, since I have brain damage on a different wiring in the brain, I don't think I have like the usual stuff like ADHD or autism or any of that, but fetal alcohol in and of itself is no treat. So, anyways, let's have a look at Cleo. I'm gonna walk over there. She's looking at me. Here is the Bible buggy. Here is Miss Cleo. Hi, beautiful. Oh, see, she's still skittish, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I accept her where she is, and I'll take whatever I get from her because she loves me, And, you know, it's okay to be scared sometimes. Alrighty, that's it.